Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about part 2 of Is There Absolute Truth? In the first video, we talked about the fact that if I believe that there is no absolute truth, then that in and of itself is a truth. It's something that holds true all of the time, that there is no truth. So in my mind, the question is, if there's one truth, could there be more? And I believe that there are many more truths. Sometimes, though, as we mentioned in the first video, we get confused between preferences and beliefs and truths. So everything we do in this life, we do because of what we believe. Our beliefs drive our actions or our behaviors. And the goal behind everything that we do, I believe, is because we want to be happy. So we believe that by doing the things that we do, it's going to give us more of what we want in life and ultimately make us happier. So in this video, we're going to talk about what would our world and what would our life be like if there were no truths. Think about that for a minute. If in the world in which we lived, there was no truths, no constancy, then what's the opposite of that? What would the world in which we live be like? Well, it would be chaos. So think for a minute of, take gravity, for example. So gravity is a natural law that exists and operates in the world in which we live. Well, what would our world be like if gravity worked some of the time, but not all of the time? Or what if it worked for you because you believe that it exists, but it doesn't work for me because I don't believe it exists? What would that look like? There's a really good movie that teaches some amazing principles, but one of them is, it illustrates this idea of gravity. The movie is called Passengers, but it's a group of people that are on a spaceship, and the spaceship is having problems, and there's a part in there where the gravity of the spaceship at times functions and sometimes it doesn't. And so it shows what happens to the people on the ship when it works and doesn't work. So one part is they're running through the hallway in the ship, gravity is working, so they're running along the ground and gravity stops working. And so they go flying up in the air, and then gravity comes back on, and boom, they come crashing to the ground. Imagine what our life would be like if gravity was not constant. Here's another thought. So if you take a pan of water and you put it on the heating element on the stove and you turn it up to high, after a period of time, the water in that pot is going to heat up to where it will begin to boil. Now, with laws or principles operating and existing and working the same all of the time, tomorrow I can take another pot of water and put it on the heating element and turn it on and the water will boil. But if there was no truth, no principle, it may be that tomorrow when I put that pot of water on the stove, maybe for whatever reason, the power of the electricity just isn't working because it changed, because there was no constancy, there was no truth. We can even just take the sun rising. You know, what would happen if the sun did not come up every day? What would happen if the planets didn't operate in their constant rotation around the sun? What would that do to the world in which we live? We would all be dead, because without that exact rotation, our whole climate on the earth in which we live would change. And plants would die, animals, including us, would die. We would either burn up or we would freeze to death. It's critical that there be truth or principle or laws in order for us to live and survive in this world. Now, the other thing for which principles or laws are important, that truths are important, is because we have to look at, so really, what is this earth experience about? What are we really here for? And I believe that we're here to learn, and to grow and to improve, and ultimately to experience and be happy. So without constancy, without those truths that remain the same, we wouldn't be able to learn. So because there are truths that operate all of the time, we can, through trial and error, figure out what works and what doesn't work. And that's a cool thing about this life. So every choice that we make, there's a consequence for that. And if we pay attention to our thoughts and beliefs, and then our resulting behavior connected to that, and then our outcome, when we're getting the outcomes that we want, what that tells us is that our thoughts, beliefs, and behavior are in alignment with principle. When we do not get the outcomes that we want, it can tell us that our thoughts, beliefs, and outcomes are not in alignment with principle. So one quick example, because just as there are laws or principles that govern the physical world in which we live, could it be that there are laws that govern things like relationships, happiness, and success? I believe that they are, but oftentimes we don't know what they are, and so as a result, we feel like we live in a world of chance. We feel like our life is out of control. And one example is if we just take emotions. Some of us have the belief that our emotions are outside of our control, that they are caused by events, circumstances, other people. So the belief that you can do something that makes me angry. So think about that. If that's my belief, then when I am experiencing anger, and I believe that I'm angry because of something that you are doing or not doing, then in order for me to not be angry, what needs to change? If my belief is that you're causing my anger, then in order for my anger to go away, then you need to change. You need to change what it is that you're doing or not doing in order for me to not be angry. But is that true? Can you really make me angry? Or can you only do something to influence me, and ultimately I am the one that gets to make the choice as to whether or not I want to be angry or not? So think about those two things. If I believe that you're responsible for my anger, then my behavior is going to be focused on trying to control or to change you, and I have no control over you. I only have influence over you. Therefore, I'm giving away my power and control to you. You have the ability to make me angry. If I want to be happy, then what that tells me is my thoughts and beliefs and behaviors are not in alignment with principle, because I have no power or control to make myself happy. Versus if I have a thought and a belief that happiness and anger and all of those emotions are a choice, that I get to choose whether I feel angry or not. Then when an event happens, so when you do something or don't do something, I realize that I get to choose what I think about your behavior, the emotion that I want to feel as a result of that behavior, and then take accountability for where I'm at. So if I want to be angry, I can be angry, but I'm the one that's in control of that. And if I decide I don't want to be angry, I can change that. Versus when you're in control of me, I have to change you, which I can't do. So absolute truth, absolutely, it exists and is necessary, not only for our physical survival on this planet, but it's necessary in order for us to learn and to grow and to become all that we are capable of becoming. So I hope you found today's video useful, helpful. Again, if it's something that you agree with, great. Hopefully it's further reinforced those beliefs, maybe given you some insight into some areas in your life where maybe you have had some false beliefs, and be willing to look at those beliefs, and if they're not based on truth, let them go and find the truth to base those beliefs on. If what I've talked about does not fit for you and your beliefs, then I would encourage you to keep an open mind and to look at that and to see if in fact your thoughts and beliefs and behaviors are giving you the outcomes that you want in your life. And if not, be willing to consider letting them go and replacing them with something different. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you'd like to know more about what we do, visit our website. You'll see it listed below.